So we have software as a service chatbot and enhanced software as a service chatbot or RAC-based chatbot. If we compare these two chatbots to Agentic AI chatbot, then we see that Agentic AI chatbots are way surpassing the traditional two. Why? Because of the accurate responses that we are getting with Agentic AI chatbots, because of the contextual coherence, and because of the problem-solving ability. We're definitely gonna be more powerful if we can leverage on the usage of this. Maybe today's artificial intelligence, tomorrow, who knows how it's gonna be called. And lightning for sure. Lily is doing it only within 2 minutes. It's crazy, but we did it successfully, and that's why they won the Danish Tech Award. And their SatAir is saving €500,000 on an annual basis by using Lily. Lily is responding with 99% of accuracy. The sky is definitely not the limit. I became an executive member of Forbes Business Council also a couple of years ago. It's an invitation only to business environment, C-level environment. Morgan Stanley predicts that by 2050, we're gonna be surrounded by 1 billion humanoids, both in business, in companies, and households.
Welcome to Future Proof Leaders Podcast with FlowMax AI, and I'm Justin, and today's guest is going to bring us with a transformation from how we can be a great leader and how we can grow, scale, and stay relevant in the age of AI. So, if you have ever felt like you're moving fast but you're not moving forward, this episode might unlock something big for you. So let's dive in. So, Ivana, how are you? Great to have you here.
Wonderful, Justin. I'm having a wonderful early Sunday morning here in Amsterdam. It's sunny, it's beautiful weather. So thank you for having me. Appreciate the invite, and I hope your audience will have an insightful episode to look forward to.
Yes, definitely, Ivana. It will be a very insightful, valuable for our audience. And let's go deep dive and start right away into your story, like the leadership. So maybe you can take me back to the moment you knew you were meant to lead transformation.
What a great start. Actually, to begin with, Justin, somehow I have instilled within me that leadership style, if I can put it that way, since the very young ages. I wanted to lead my basketball team. I was a playmaker. I was the president at primary, secondary school in my class. I was the best student in generation. I was always organizing my friends whenever we need to have some social gathering or so. And at the end of the day, I felt so empowered by doing so. Why? Because I was getting the feedback from the rest of either my friends or family members, collaborators, colleagues afterwards that, hey, Ivana, you're helping a lot. So we cannot wait. When I was traveling abroad, we cannot wait for you to come back so we can get together again. You are our leader. So maybe that was, of course, unconventional way of leading my teammates, let's say. But afterwards, when I started my career, and that was almost 20 years ago, back in Macedonia. Originally, I'm coming from Macedonia. I started my career within the public sector, believe it or not. So I worked for the government, and I was part of the economic team responsible to bring foreign direct investments in our country. So I was part of the Prime Minister team, and we were having so-called economic roadshows around the world, from Asia, all around Europe, North America, United States, Canada. And that was a stepping point, actually, in my career. That's how I started being present on those C-level tables, learning how to negotiate, how to close millions of deals, to afterwards use that knowledge, experience, and leadership style within the upcoming steps of my career that led within tech industry.
Wow. With tech industry, and I'm really curious. I know that you have this natural way of leading. And why did you choose transformation? Maybe we can unbox from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Related to my leadership style, I believe is authentic one, but how the transformational journey came in place from being within public sector or being one of the leaders of the government institution or government itself, afterwards becoming a deputy CEO and CEO of the Agency for Foreign Direct Investments and Export Promotion, to transforming and becoming a leader in the tech industry. I would say it was a transformational journey, but somehow I was always preparing myself for that one. Why? Because my educational background, Justin, is a combination of both business and IT. So I'm Bachelor of Economics, and but I studied e-business, electronic business within the Faculty of Economics. So within the very beginning or the very start of my educational journey, I somehow got connected to the tech world. And for your younger audience, that was in the 90s, when I'm coming from a modest family and my parents in the internet era couldn't afford to buy my sister and myself a computer at home. So I was spending my spare time within an internet cafe, creating my first email address. Yahoo was that time, then first CV, then those chats, social chats that we had back then, and that's how I got connected, and I felt so energized. Wow, what is this artificial world, tech world that is just introduced to our new era? And afterwards I said, okay, I'm good in math, I'm good in, let's say, business and economy. My decision was definitely to enroll within the Faculty of Economics, but then which department? And that was we were the first generation of studying electronic business department. And it was a great, I would say, combo, because we studied in English. It was an international department, plus tech savvy. We had our tech lab within the university, the only department that had that advantage, I would say. Now it's so common and normal, but back then you can imagine. And yeah, I said, okay, this is quite a powerful environment to be in. And since then, I envisioned myself that I'll definitely have a career or build up my career within this tech world. Uh, and definitely that will be an international one. So that was something that I knew from the very beginning of my study days. Afterwards, I never stopped learning. Either that was a conventional way of learning. I enrolled within the ICT University afterwards, a Master of Computer Networks and New Technologies. So again, I continued paving the tech educational way for me during my government days. And yes, afterwards, executive MBA, Sheffield University. Part of it, I studied at York University, Toronto, Canada. And I was getting scholarship for all of these educational steps forward. A lot of leadership programs in Austria, in China. So when we had our first conversation, I was impressed that you're coming from China, because I've been many times to that wonderful country and I'm so impressed by the culture. So that is a great advantage that I had the opportunity. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to get those scholarships to educate myself worldwide, and as well as start my career by having these economic trips, business trips around the world, meeting C-level people, decision makers from top world brand named or Fortune 500 companies, to meet the decision makers and learn from their own experience how is to lead international wise and have a successful, I would say, professional leadership story behind.
Wow, I'm blown away. You have so many awards and accomplishments, and that would really give us some sign of you have a gift for this. And thank you for sharing. I'm really happy that we were into this episode, this podcast, to really
My
connect
pleasure.
with you. And maybe you could connect back with China with me. But
Absolutely. I would love that.
yeah. So maybe let's talk about like what's your leadership style? Like what shaped your leadership style now? Like what is it today? Like what was that moment that shaped it to where you are today?
First and foremost, I would say that gratefulness that my parents instilled within me. So, the core values of my personality and character are definitely crucial for having that professional way of leading my teams or having that authentic leadership style. And why I'm saying this and pointing out this, Justin, because how I'm growing up within my career, I'm more and more realizing that the basics are crucial, and basics we all are having them from our home environment, right? How we were taught or how we were nurtured by our parents. So again, I'm fortunate to have such a wonderful family. Work hard to trust within your journey, to set your goals, and to trust that with the hard work, you can achieve everything. So that is actually, that became quite a long time ago my life motto. That whatever you set your mind to, there is no way that you cannot achieve it. Only and only if you work hard, if you trust yourself, and otherwise you will find an excuse for not doing it, right? I believe
Yeah,
that
that's
there was a good quote by Walt Disney. Afterwards, when I was growing within my career and I started being a senior manager and top manager, afterwards having my team, and the team first started to count of couple of team members. Afterwards I was managing hundreds of teammates. So how I was growing, my team was growing. And then my leadership style or management style was always, I would say, an authentic one, but flexible in a way that I'm not going to micromanage my team members. I'm not going to push some boundaries to them. If you feel comfortable bringing your results by working on a beach, you're allowed to do that. Don't ask me, because I learned from my Western European style managers the same way, that there should be no boundaries for leading or mentoring other mentees that are just starting within their career. If they feel powerful, comfortable by bringing results and being successful in different setup of environment, not conventional one, being in a strictly in an office, working 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. So my leadership style is definitely lead by example, authentic example, absolutely, and results driven.
I love your belief. I love your leadership style, like leadership style of leading by example, and as well as the belief of if you want to achieve that, there's nothing going to stop you as long as you're going to do the work.
Absolutely,
Right?
Justin, and that's how all of the awards that you mentioned before are just a proof that actually this is the right way. I mean, there is no right formula. If you ask me, there is no right formula. But if anybody is trusting on the set goal and the capability that you have, then the sky is definitely not the limit. So that's how I was awarded with 40 under 40 3 years ago, top one of the top business leaders in Europe. And I would say so far that's the highest appraisal that I've received. I became an executive member of Forbes Business Council also a couple of years ago. It's an invitation only business environment, C-level environment, where I, before I entered that network by being a fellow of 30 under 30. So, and now if you see my LinkedIn profile, and for your audience, feel free to connect. I love to connect with everyone worldwide. You see that now it's quite, I would say, quite often that I'm sharing such achievements or acknowledgements that are coming from around the world. For example, World Women Changing the World, I became a finalist for the Tech Leader of the Year 2025 this year. So another, I would say, quite close to my heart award, Global Leader of the New Era by the Female Factor last year. It was a huge and powerful female event in the heart of Vienna. So these events or these happenings, Justin, are so hard to describe. You just need to be part of it and experience it. And speaking about it, I'm also a long-term women in tech and women in AI advocate. And whenever I can help, especially the younger generations, I'm always willing to do so. So I had my mentees coming from around the world: Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Macedonia, of course, different ages, so different demographic groups, also older than myself. But I always see that way of not only a one way of teaching or mentoring, but it's always a two-way learning process, right? I'm feeling so happy and content that when I can help and that I'm helping, actually, it's all about the feedback I'm receiving from those people, right?
Yes, that's beautiful. And I think that's inspirational. And a lot
Thank
of
you.
founders, a lot of leaders, sometimes they also would wish all of those things. It's good that we have this podcast because we want to really deep dive into not just your story, but what you think about how we're going to cross or transform businesses into the AI era. So, thank you for sharing your origin story and where you came from and where you are now. Like, that's very inspirational. Now, we wanted to kind of shift gears into much more of the AI stuff, the tools, and
Absolutely.
these are probably the meatiest part of this podcast. So, one of the things that we want to deep dive into is how we can transform the business and getting from you as a leader in the transformation would give us a little bit more of idea, different perspectives. And right now, because so many founders is actually listening to this, especially if you're kind of earning decent revenue, but you're still kind of in a level where you don't think you're leveling up, you're moving forward. So, in other words, they're kind of stuck in the tools. It's, sometimes we call it the tools trap. Like you're
Mhm.
fascinated with the tools and you already bought the tools, and now you've tried AI, but you feel like you're still the bottleneck. You don't know where you want to go or where you want to lead your company. So this is where maybe we can talk about agentic AI, how it comes in. And this is not another tech trend. We talked about this before we had this call, and we had great ideas that we were sharing. But I think now we can talk about a little bit to unpack this. So let's talk about more about like what exactly is agentic AI and how is it different from automating with ChatGPT or Zapier or Make or other tools? Like, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm so glad to dive deeper into this topic for your broader audience. So we're witnessing that over the past couple of years, AI and afterwards Gen AI has exploded into the world stage, right? With both companies and individuals across the globe rapidly adopting the technology. And it's not that artificial intelligence is from 2023. It exists since 80s, right, Justin? But somehow it becomes a buzzword, and that's why during my keynote presentations and such a podcast, I first and foremost tend to explain, because it's a buzzword: AI, Gen AI, and now Agentic AI. But what it actually is agentic AI? So for your audience, it's an AI systems that possess the capacity to make autonomous decisions and take actions to achieve specific goals with or without or very limited or zero human intervention or human interaction. So with that, agentic AI involves multiple agents that are working together, and each and one of them is specializing with one specific task or data types to solve one complex or bigger problem and to automate those processes. So by collaborating between each other, and they constantly, all AI agents are collaborating and communicating, learning between each other, they constantly learning. So these agents or agentic AI is enhancing a company's or organization's decision-making power, optimize processes, automate processes, and at the end of the day, drive innovation. So I would say that we can mention some of the key aspects of agentic AI to a bit dive deeper. So the first thing is that they're autonomous. So they are making autonomous decisions. They are very much goal oriented, specific with one task. So each and one of the agents is conducting one specific task. They work within an environment and they interact within an environment and surrounding, which is of course not constant. The environment is always changing. So they have an ability to adapt those changes within the surrounding, and they have a learning capability. AI agents or agentic AI is employing machine learning to improve their performance, and they optimize workflows and business process optimization within one company. And at the end of the day, they work as a multi-agent. As I said, one multi-agent system or framework. So with that, let me put or somehow visualize it. The best is when we visualize it for your audience. At least the best way for me is to have some visual perspective of how these artificial intelligence models or systems, in this case agentic AI, look like. We have one master agent at the very top, very beginning. Then the master agent is helped by the orchestrator agent, and the orchestrator agent below consists of multiple different agents. We can put endless number of agents within that sequence. Again, each and one of those agents is carrying a specific task. So for example, if we have customer support agent as a master agent at the very top, held by the or led by the orchestrator agent, another customer support agent, and different micro agents that are supporting these orchestrator and master agents. So, customer support agent for frequently asked questions, another one for customer experience, another one for issue resolution, another customer agent for getting feedback, and so on and so forth. So I believe this visualization or how it actually looks like, it's so simple when we visualize it, how these multiple agentic AI frameworks functions. And another good comparison will be to compare agentic AI chatbots with traditional chatbots that we used until yesterday, or some organizations, some companies are still using it, right? For example, we have the traditional one chatbot that is providing 24/7 support, or so-called software as a service chatbot. And on the other hand, we have RAG-based chatbot, or retrieval augmented generated chatbot, that is also known as enhanced software as a service chatbot. So we have software as a service chatbot and enhanced software as a service chatbot, or RAG-based chatbot. If we compare these two chatbots to agentic AI chatbot, then we see that agentic AI chatbots are way surpassing the traditional two. Why? Because of the accurate responses that we are getting with agentic AI chatbots, because of the contextual coherence, and because of the problem solving ability that they have. Let's point it out. What are the benefits, or how the companies and organizations can become intelligent while using or adopting, implementing agentic AI models and frameworks? And here, the central question isn't whether they should or they should not implement agentic AI, but the main question goes into how swiftly, how promptly they will implement AI and agentic AI or different AI powered tools. So I would say in this fast lane of tech evolution we live in today, companies that will miss the AI turn today will definitely be outpaced by their competition tomorrow. So organizations and companies that are adopting agentic AI can definitely gain a competitive advantage by leveraging their capabilities to innovate, as we said, and first and foremost, their internal business processes, then to optimize it and automate it. So one of the, I would say, top benefits that are coming along with agentic AI implementation are definitely their or companies' enhanced decision making power. They are boosting their efficiency and overall company productivity. And last but not least, they're improving their customer experience. And I would say this is far most important benefit for many companies across the globe. And another maybe as well as important as the previous three benefits are that the agentic AI has lower cost to entry and economies of scale compared to other models or systems, the traditional one that are related to machine learning or RPA driven automation, robotic processes of automation. This theory or these key impactful factors by using AI powered tools, agentic AI can lead to intelligent organizations.
So Ivana, that was so profound. There's so many answers, and just to kind of simplify and just break it down to our audience right now, we just wanted to see how you're going to approach this. If we're going to be talking to an entrepreneur, a business owner, a founder, and they're going to be thinking of transforming their business. So, how does thinking in agent shift? Like, how could we systemize the business if it's not an AI ready, or maybe it's a partial AI tools empowered business? What's your opinion on how we can design the business systems with agents, AI agents?
Yeah, yeah. A great question, Justin. But before going and discussing on AI tools, or specifically in this case, AI agents, I would say it's crucial to start with where the company or startup, scale up, doesn't matter the size, to define the strategy, where it wants to go. So, where the company sees itself or the founder sees itself after 5 years. So, it's crucial to define and plan or have a strategic plan, at least for the upcoming 4 or 5 years. And then, along with that strategic plan or defining a strategy, to start with data. Data is crucial. How is data structured, or whether the data is structured? How it's managed? Data management is crucial. Whether we are compliant, so data governance. Where is the data sitting? Whether if it's a global company with multiple locations worldwide, whether the data is unstructured, sitting in different locations, or centralized. Of course, the best is data to be centralized. Whether it is compliant with the local national regulations. For example, in EU, where I reside, we need to, or businesses, companies, startups, scale ups need to be compliant with GDPR rules, with NIS2 regulations, with DORA, depends on which sector and industry. For example, DORA is for the financial sector and industry. Then compliancy with the AI EU Act. Now, I've just read a couple of days ago that around 60 most influential European companies or global companies that have their headquarters in Europe are signed a petition just to prolong the implementation of the AI EU Act. So this is way far most, I would say, important before delving into the AI, choosing the right AI tools, agentic AI, explainable AI, and so on and so forth. Why? Because if the company, if the business owner, the entrepreneur doesn't have the bigger vision of where the company is leading, what is the goal that they would like to achieve on a short and long term basis? What is their target audience? What are their clients? What is their strategic business value as well as a value added proposition, unique value proposition in that terms, which definitely gonna differentiate them or give them a competitive advantage from the rest of the companies that are functioning within the same sector or industry. So I'm speaking a bit broadly, but this is crucial for your audience that are owners and entrepreneurs or that are willing or planning to start their own business tomorrow, to start with defining their vision, strategy, having a very well defined strategic plan. I would recommend 5 year strategic plan, then to dive deep into the data frameworks, to define the internal frameworks, and then to define the AI strategy. Coming back to the agentic AI, any individual can use. It's so hands-on, I would say. Okay, I'm tech savvy, but I believe most of your audience is as well. So it's so easy to create agents. For example, Copilot Studio. We're using Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft is our long-term one of, if not the biggest strategic partner. And Copilot, we're using, personally, I'm also using other like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini. I want to, how to say, to try different or compare different results from different AI powered tools. However, it's so hands-on and each and every individual can use, for example, Copilot Studios to create agents. So you can have an agent assistant that can just in a second create your minutes of meeting. Another agent to help you within the sales, how to organize your contacts if you have it in the Excel sheet, for example. So it's all about data. We cannot start even discussing, talking on any specific AI powered tools, or I would definitely not recommend if we do not understand or have our data structured. And of course, compliant to the regulations that are compliant, should be compliant to the regulations that are applicable within the country or territory location where the business resides.
Yeah, that sounds very practical. And as you mentioned about like when you are using different tools, it's not about the tools, it's not about the agents, but it's also about the business. Like what is the goal in 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, even to really understand like what's the goal? Where are we going? And the good thing about that is probably the curious question that I have for you would be, I know that data is also one of the biggest thing for you to make AI work for agents or whatever tools that AI would come from. It could be an LLM, large language model,
Or SLM,
Um,
small language model.
well,
Yeah.
language model, or it could be a chatbot or whatever it is, agents. But it goes back to the data. What do you feed? But in terms of making it simple, if you have probably a company who is maybe having an average of a million a year in revenue, do you think, in your opinion, is it also is it going to be easy for you to make sure to clean up your data and to be able to have that governance for you to implement all of these AI tools? What's your opinion?
Yes, yes. I would say today it's not only about, or the crucial factor is not the revenue that you just mentioned, is about how you function on a daily basis. Because, and again, going back to the data we are gathering, depends on the business, but all businesses are gathering data from different sources on a daily or some time frame basis. So I will put it bluntly: garbage in, garbage out, right? If we just collect the data and do nothing without it, then what will be the outcome? Can you imagine? Unstructured data, we don't know where to dive deep, how to use that data. And maybe we have a fortune of, of those data to use, whether to focus on improving our customers' experience, which I mentioned before, that for a lot of, or most of the companies worldwide, is most crucial thing to focus on. They want their customers to be happy so they can return and the retention to grow, right? So having that data management is way more most crucial part, to structure the data, to have to decide on what part of that data to be retained, so data retention, data disposal, what part of this that data to get rid of it. And that to be a constant simultaneous cycle that will never end. So just like we're going at work or turning on and working on a daily basis, it's the same with data. Or just like we're brushing our teeth or having breakfast, lunch every day, it's the same. That's the fuel and accelerator that each and every company and business should have. That it's not only about whether we will be compliant before the regulators, right, in front of the regulators and the legislation at the location and country we reside as a business. But as I said, to use it as a something, a golden rule and fortune to have it, to use those data in order to accomplish different set goals that will be part of our strategic plan, as I said before. But it's also important, how important is to clean up our data retention, data disposal, data management, as well as important is to refine or get back to our strategy, define strategy, because as I mentioned previously, environment factors and conditions surrounding is changing. And especially the so dynamic, fast-paced tech era we live in today, we are influenced, the geopolitics. You see what is happening nowadays worldwide. And we cannot just sit and wait what is going to happen tomorrow. No, maybe even bigger things are waiting for us tomorrow. So we definitely cannot sit and wait, but just have a regular checkups on our strategic plan, on our defined strategy. I would say not on a yearly basis. It's quite too long to have it at least on a quarterly basis, but my recommendation will be on a monthly basis to see whether our strategic plan, what we have defined, let's say last year or a previous quarter, we are still aligned within the current conditions, the current factors that are influencing the set goals, how are we progressing with that, and so on and so forth.
So yeah, that's a great insight, Ivana, about just garbage in, garbage out, and always made sure to improve the data every single month, I think that would really streamline how you can use the data for AI. So now let's jump in to really go to real world AI use scenarios, like use cases. Maybe we could start with, do you have any story that you can share where you saw AI shift a business from being stuck and how they were be able to scale?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just for your audience, before delving into sharing specific use cases from our clients, just to say a few words about Atos, the company where I work as a Chief Growth Officer, Business Development. And Atos is actually one of the top 5 global IT consultancy companies that provide secure, end-to-end, customized IT AI-powered solutions. So with that, we have our expertise or main pillars are based on cloud and modern infrastructure or sovereign cloud solutions. Another, I would say, buzzword these days, but so important, especially with the geopolitics happening nowadays. Then data and AI, digital workplaces, digital applications, smart platforms, and I would say one of our maybe best competitive advantage is definitely cybersecurity services and cybersecurity products. But some of the, I would say, our global portfolio of partners and clients, it's huge. For example, we partner with around 60 companies worldwide. But I will mention some of the strategic ones. As you all know, Microsoft, AWS, SAP, Dell Technologies, then NVIDIA, Google Cloud, Salesforce. I'm so proud to that we are official IT partner for long term for the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games. Then UEFA, the European football competition. So, and from the client perspective, I would say there is no any sector or industry that we didn't help with our expertise and knowledge. So Atos is a huge company of around 80,000 employees worldwide. We are present in each and every continent worldwide. And we haven't touched base, or there is no sector or industry that, as I said, that we are not present. For example, aviation, we work for Air France, for Airbus, for Global Dutch Rail Airways, KLM, then NXP, NATO, a lot of public institutions, European Commission, NATO, Europol, then a lot of ministries, government institutions. So that's why the compliancy is so important, or data governance in that part. Siemens, we are SAP, as I said, long-term partner and client, Databricks, and so on and so forth, IBM, tons of partners and clients. And there are, I can talk for hours about specific sectors or use cases, but I will definitely share some of the most interesting ones that are related to our topic today. So when we were discussing what are the best AI powered solutions that businesses or entrepreneurs should consider focusing on agentic AI, I would start with aviation industry. And I very much like this one because it's, again, I will visualize it for your audience, but it comes from SatAir. SatAir is a fully owned service company by Airbus. They are based in headquartered in Denmark, and they serve around 4,000 clients worldwide by providing aftermarket services, tools, and parts for the aviation industry. And for them, it was 3 years ago, we've developed a full AI strategy. So again, going back to your question, Justin, it's not only deciding on a specific related tool that will, AI powered tool that will enhance a specific or isolated process within the full organization or company structure, but to start with First, the strategic plan. Then, to have in place an AI strategy is important because the AI strategy should incorporate and include all the business processes. And if you ask me, I believe we should start first with business process optimization, how we can optimize the current business processes, especially in such a big global business environments, and afterwards to incorporate automation or to see which of those processes can be easily automated by using AI powered tools. So in this case, SatAir, we've successfully implemented around a dozen of AI powered solutions. For example, intelligent warehouse manager, then digital marketing Rolodex, then intelligent city assistant, etc., etc. But I will focus on the so-called Lily, the intelligent AI-powered quotation assistant. It's a great app that they're using it, and actually SatAir won a Danish Tech Award with Lily. And it's one of my favorite use cases. So Lily is reading around 6 million emails annually from their clients and stakeholders. And around 400,000 of those 6 million emails are asking for a quote. So before implementing Lily, the AI-powered quotation assistant, the team that worked on answering those requests counted around 50. So around 50 people were managing this, providing answer and feedback to the client that requested via email a specific quote at SatAir. And they needed 24 hours to respond to such a request. Can you imagine, and this is crazy, that Lily is doing it only within 2 minutes? So SatAir reduced the time to answer and provide a quote from 24 hours up to only 2 minutes. It's crazy, but we did it successfully. And that's why they won the Danish Tech Award. And their SatAir is saving €500,000 on an annual basis by using Lily. But not only that, Lily is responding with 99% of accuracy. So you see all these benefits or advantages that one business or company can get out of implementing or incorporating AI-powered tools, solutions, systems, frameworks within the organization. So today, Lily is serving around 4,000 clients worldwide. She is responding within the 2 minute, and not only responding with a 99% of accurate quotation, but as well as she's within a second finding the right or closest location where the client is based globally, where that part or tool that the client is requesting resides, where is the closest location that can be shipped. Unstructured requests, Lily is doing it in a second by analyzing the internal database, specific warehouse, and giving a response back with a 99% of accuracy. And that's why I'm so passionate talking about such a use cases. But another one is coming from manufacturing, actually. So Siemens, they're a long-term client and partner of Atos for decades. And they had a challenge within their manufacturing plant. So they transformed its maintenance operations by implementing and deploying AI models and AI frameworks that analyze sensor data from the machinery, from the equipment itself. So by implementing these AI models and systems, and by the way, they use the regression and deep learning models, they're gathering data from different sources. And again, pointing out to the data, because data is everything. We cannot do anything without the data. So the sources that they are using in this case, gathering data from the machinery, from the equipment itself, by the temperature of the equipment, by the vibration of the equipment, by the acoustic signals or the noise. And the system nowadays, by after implementing this agentic AI model, predicts the equipment failures before even they occur. So in this case, there is no need for a man work to go and just do the maintenance of the machine. And you can imagine these machines are quite heavy, tons of heavy. It's not a part, but it's a heavy equipment. So with this agentic AI model and framework that they've implemented, it regularly predicts even before the such a failure occurs, and suggest, so the system, the model is suggesting when the maintenance should be done for that specific machine or equipment. So what was the financial impact of Siemens after implementing and incorporating this framework? They've reduced the maintenance cost by 20%, and the revenue growth, or they increased the productivity uptime by 15%. But I'm always saying not only financial implications are important, as well as non-financial benefits are also tangible to be mentioned, like the equipment reliability was enhanced, as well as overall workforce safety. So yeah, and as I said, Justin, I can talk for hours and share such a valuable use cases that constantly, and even now our team members are working on such a specific use cases to help businesses around the globe either optimize their business processes or innovate. Some of them automate and innovate, some of them by having or implementing end-to-end secure and AI-powered solutions and services.
Now I can see how you love AI and technology. It's just impacting so much, not only in probably in the company, but as you mentioned, like their safety, the intangible components of people's lives. Like it's really improving. And the time, like I can't, I was blown away. I wouldn't be able to say something when you said about 6 million emails a year, and they have quotations which save so much time, and I can
And
resonate
money,
with that.
and money, 500,000 euro every year.
I can
Yeah,
I can resonate with that because like when I run my business, quotations is a drag. Like it takes so much time, and not to mention it's about errors, because one big
absolutely.
error, it will lose money.
It's a
And
domino effect. It will influence.
yeah, yes, and you
Yes.
said it was like 99%. Wow, like that's a lot
It,
of entrepreneurs, business owners wish to have their hands off that product, right? Because especially for B2B, like if we're doing the B2 business to business
yes.
model, and yeah, it's probably easy to, if you have like just simple items or services. But what if it gets complicated? What if it involves like shipping to a different country, or maybe how many containers are you going to ship, or there's so many components that everything will change. And with that kind of use case, it's like inspiring. It's like very inspiring to create. And thank you for
Thank
sharing that.
you.
Thank
My
you for
pleasure.
sharing that. And this
I
also
have
gives our
a lot more to share. So if anyone is interesting from your audience, feel free to reach out. We can talk for hours and just dive deep and customize such a powerful solutions for the specific sector, industry, use case that you have to solve the challenges you have.
yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe we could create an event, some sort of a summit or
Good
webinar
idea.
to showcase
Or
you
or I
and
can
share your,
invite you, or I can invite you
yes.
on some of our upcoming events, because on a company level, we are organizing global wise a lot of events together with our partners, or usually with our partners. But anyhow, I'm often also individually invited to provide such a presentation or session, either as a keynote speaker or as a panelist. So yeah, if you're interested, I can gladly share an invitation for the upcoming events that I will have my part of.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you're giving us an eye opener of AI in different industries. You know the saying, you only know what you know, right? And most of the
Exactly.
people we are actually stuck there. We only know what we know. Unless someone like you like show us like, oh, this is actually possible, and here we are. So
Everything everything is possible. Justin, I was blown away by our cybersecurity services. That is unfortunately not my field or part of my expertise. However, we have great teams that again on a daily basis working helping companies worldwide providing cybersecurity services and products. And just to mention from the business point of view, because as I said, I'm not an expert, I'm not going to dive deep into it. If you need one, I can I can definitely propose some of the colleagues. But it's an interesting and I would say more and more a topic that is taking place more and more on a global level, especially within the, and maybe some of your audience experience it on itself with social engineering and phishing and whatnot, and putting it that on a B2B level or perspective. So going back to the money and time and effort you mentioned that will be wasted with only one cyber attack happening in such a global company of $1 billion value, and our clients are Fortune 500 global companies. So you can imagine how huge impact it will have not only on the business but as well as on the employees, on the whole ecosystem that that company or business functions. So I was again blown away positively by knowing the fact that now VLA agreements are coming in place. So we had SLA, service level agreements, that companies before were signing with the clients, with businesses for the focus was on the technical and service performance. So the measures were on the uptime, response time, ensuring baseline services reliability, right? Then we upgraded to XLA or experience level agreements, where the main focus was user experience, where user satisfaction, user perception was measured just to improve how people feel. So the customer experience, how people feel and how people react on the specific product or service. And now the third level is VLA, value level agreements, which are mostly focused on the business value by measuring the specific KPIs, key performance indicators, productivity gains, and ROI, return on investment, so revenue, in order to align the service to the company's strategic business goals. We don't want just to focus on the uptime, response time, or just the customer satisfaction or user experience, but we want more. And that more is the additional added value.
wow, that's another different layer and different game. Like most companies would just focus on the SLA, which is the service level, which sometimes most company will suck at it as well. Well,
Agree.
it's on paper,
Been
but
there, seen that.
and
Yes.
now you not all companies can even go to the XLA,
XLA. Yeah.
and how much more
And
does
we are talking
VLA?
about now VLA,
Right,
value level
right.
agreements. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because I I have interviewed a few SaaS founders, and usually they talk about human customer experience. Whatever the solution that you're selling, most of the questions that will be opening a ticket is
Hmm.
not about the features, it's all about the customer experience. And that is one thing that most people doesn't know.
Yeah.
unless you are running the business, then you will know that that's very critical. And now
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
giving us an entire new area to
Shift.
look at the VLA.
Yes.
You're giving us this open loop. So maybe we can have maybe another session
Another session, yeah, just to dive deep more into
just to
this.
dive deep.
And yes, I will have more use cases within this specific part
Yes.
to share then.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I've enjoyed this episode with you. So now we're going to have a quick fire round, Ivana, and we're going to wrap up with some lightning questions, one word or short answers only. So let's start with, what's your most overrated trait in a leader?
Positive impact, because not all global leaders have that in front of them, unfortunately.
Yes, true. And the next one would be, what's the most underrated skill for the AI era?
I would say prompting for sure.
All right. And let's go with the next. What's one AI tool you're excited about right now?
Oh, that would be Eliza, our own company AI powered tool or chatbot that I'm greatly look forward to leverage on that usage, because we have tons of data and it's so hard to somehow find exactly what I need out of those tons of use cases, sectors, industries that we are working at on a global scale. So I very much look forward to leverage on the usage of Eliza.
Wow. We're excited to know the use cases that you can do. So let's go with the next. Your favorite word to describe the future.
I will put it in two words: lightning and powerful.
Why?
Because I'm always looking forward to what's next, what's coming tomorrow. I'm not afraid of the changes. Although I've heard recently or read in the news that Morgan Stanley predicts that by 2050 we're gonna be surrounded by 1 billion humanoids, both in business, in companies, and households. So that market will be around 5 trillion, the market itself, but we will have 1 billion humanoids that will surround us. And many people are afraid of what's coming tomorrow, what's coming next, what the future will bring tomorrow. But for me, it's always, we're definitely gonna be more powerful if we can leverage on the usage of this. Maybe today's artificial intelligence, tomorrow, who knows how it's gonna be called. And lightning for sure.
Beautiful. Well said. And the
Thank you.
last but not the least would be, one leadership principle you'll never outgrow.
Yes, definitely authentic true values.
Yes. Ivana, this was gold. And for anyone listening who's feeling stuck in the weeds, but ready to step into smarter leadership and intelligent systems, what's the best way they can go deep or deeper into the world or to connect with you?
There are a lot of options, opportunities, means to leverage on today, and we have them on our palm of the hand, right? So whether to use any of the chat GPTs, as I said before, chat GPT, Claude, Gemini, you name it, or just regularly some of the search engines. So we are fortunate, absolutely fortunate to live in today's era. I fortunately can compare the previous era before internet, how it was actually difficult to get an information, to go in a library, to dive deep and spend hours, even days, to prepare one summary, executive summary, or one pager, or couple of pages, or a presentation, or a homework when I was a student. So we are fortunate to have this means that, and to leverage on these means today. So if I hear an excuse from somebody, That is absolutely not acceptable. And how to connect with me? As I mentioned before, I'm open and I am quite regularly using my LinkedIn profile. It's my professional window to the rest of the world. Although I always prefer meeting face to face in person, that's the best way for me. However, I've met a wonderful people via LinkedIn. I've been invited, let's say, to Philippines, and I had my presentation in front of 600 students to the ICT, National ICT University there. So it's so powerful, it's so empowering having or being present and leverage on these professional networks. So you definitely can find me on LinkedIn. I can share my also email address, and of course at some of the upcoming events, conferences. Last year, I was actually this year, January, I was for the first time at Davos World Economic Forum. And from the conferences aspect, that was my highest achievement. And just now, a couple of days ago, I was invited again to be one of the speakers at the upcoming next year Davos event again in January. But many other events upcoming in my agenda. So feel free to reach out. Quite responsive, as you know, Justin. And thank you so much for having me. I somehow feel so empowered by having this conversation. And I'm sure that we will have some follow ups or some next episodes to dive into the other topics that we've already mentioned. Thank you so much. A great pleasure.
You're welcome, and thank you. Thank you, Ivana. And thank you for watching FlowMax AI podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.